Winston Churchill used to say that dictators ride to and fro on tigers from which they dare not dismount, for fear that the tigers would consume them. The longer they sit on the tiger's back, the hungrier the tiger becomes. The PPP under Jagdeo have been riding the tiger since 1999. So now, if they lose this election, the tiger they have been riding will turn on them and consume them. In this context, the tiger would have to be interpreted to be the Guyanese people, and consume will have to be interpreted as making them pay for the misdeeds they committed during their corrupt time in office. And you, the people, will have your elected agents to carry out prosecutions of the numerous violations of our laws and punishment where necessary. I want everyone to be aware of this because it accounts for the refusal of the PPP after the 2011 elections to concede that they had lost the elections. It is only a flaw in the Guyana constitution which allowed Ramatar to be declared president. And I maintain, after my discussions with Sir Fenton Ramsay, that even though Ramatar had been declared a winner by GCOM, which our constitution says that they must do, he did not have the right to form a government since he did not enjoy a majority of the parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to look at this situation after you extrapolate it to an extreme case. For example, if three people are running for president, Party A's presidential candidate gets 33%, Party B's candidate gets 33%, and Party C's candidate gets 34%. Under this situation, GCOM is obligated by our flawed constitution to declare presidential candidate of Party C the president, even though the other two parties got 66% of the vote and control 2/3 of the parliament. In terms of modern democracy, it's a nonsense. Since to rule, the president must have the support of a majority of the parliament from which sovereignty comes. The PPP never accepted this fundamental principle. They assumed that since Ramatar's party got the most votes and he was declared the president, then he could form a minority government and rule without the support of parliament. But our constitution does not say that. And whilst it says that the other two cannot collate after an election to name the president, nowhere in our constitution does it say that the winner has the right to form the government if he does not have a majority in the parliament to rule. And therefore he must collate with one of the other two so that the sovereignty of the people can be established. This matter has never been fully tested in court, but Jacob Ramaran does have a case which has now been filed in the appeal court for more than 3 months challenging this. It's a constitutional matter, and therefore it should have been heard as a matter of some urgency, especially at this time. Now, having assumed the role of government, to which they were not entitled, the PPP refused to consult with the opposition, which, combined as they were the choice of the people by 1 seat. But it is not just 1 seat. The winner is the winner. We see it all the time in sports. 1 goal in football, 1 run in cricket, 1 point in basketball game establishes the winner. The PPP refused to consult the opposition because the opposition would have inevitably discovered the true depth of the corruption of the PPP. So what does the PPP do? They behave as if the opposition does not exist. And in doing so, they behaved as if the people who voted and won the 2011 election did not exist. Now, this horrible situation was not just about the opposition and the PPP. This was about 51.4% majority of the people who won the 2011 elections being subjugated and ruled by the 48.6% who lost. Now, any constitution which allows such stupidity in a proportional representation system has to be wrong and must be modified. So now we come to the lies. In today's Kaicho News on 24th of April 2015, there is a PPP political advertisement, and it lists 10 problems which were created when the opposition cut the 2014 budget. The ad says, 1, that Guyana is blacklisted since they refused to pass the anti-money laundering bill. this is a lie. We have not actually been blacklisted. In any event, the PPP refused to accept a minority position and refused to implement the constitutionally required procurement commission to curb their corruption, which led to the impasse. The ad says, number 2, that electricity rates remain high and blackouts continue due to the blocking of the Amelia Hydro project. Lies. Even if the opposition did not block the project, the road alone went over budget by 273%. The actual Amelia project was slated to cost $900 million US, with an interest payment of $1.2 billion US for the life of the loan. This is $2.1 billion US in total. It is more than our current total national debt. Mr. Ramon Gaskin tells us that at this price it was impossible for rates to go down. It would have gone up. Also at $900 million for 160 megawatts, this hydro project was slated to cost 250% more than what information had led us to believe is the world standard. The opposition also wants to hear the deal that Brazil is offering before making this dangerous investment. It also appears Amelia may not have enough water to be a sustainable electrical generator since it runs dry for several months of the year. If the Amelia Hydro project was actually started in 2014, it would have taken between 5 to 7 years to come on stream. So there is no way that it could be making you pay more electricity now and getting more blackouts now. Number 3, the ad says that funding for the sugar industry was reduced and Gaisuco was called a black hole and a PPP problem. Lies. There is no question that the Gaisuco problem was created by the PPP. But the opposition, or 51% of the Guyanese people, were asking what the 4.9 billion for Gaisuco was for. And the 49% PPP minority government told them that it was not their business. Number 4, the ad says that non-support for the expansion of the Chedijagan International Airport is limiting flights to Guyana. Lies. No airport or airline has complained that their flights are limited by the size of the Guyana airport. Records show that only 250,000 people depart Guyana through the Chedijagan International Airport annually, 20,833 per month or 684 per day. Coming in would be around the same amount. So since the modern aircraft carries around 200 people, less than 4 planes a day can carry this amount of people into and out of Guyana every day. 4 planes every 24 hours. Now I have consulted numerous people. The answer is unanimous. We don't need a bigger airport. In addition, we suspect that this Chedijagan International project is riddled with corruption. If their intention is for Guyana to become a hub for traffic to and from South America and Europe, then they have to show evidence that you have agreements with so-and-so country that if we build the airport, they will come. Not let's pay some guy 400 million to build a new airport, pocket 120 million, which is the usual 30% kickback we know about, build the airport with the rest of the money and see who comes. Number 5, the ad says that some government agency budgets are chopped and staff salary threatened. Well, this is the only true thing they've said, but those which were chopped were entities like GINA and NCM, where the minority government was using the taxes of the majority of the people to criticize and ridicule the opposition without giving them the right to respond. I would have cut it myself, and so would you. The ad says that funding for the University of Guyana, particularly loans for students, were blocked. Lies. Actually, when the PPP came to power in 1992, there was no fee requirement at UG, and therefore no loans were necessary. The majority of the people, through their representatives, were saying that the PPP had impoverished and politicized UG to the extent that it was nearly dysfunctional. And they wanted a complete overhaul of the institution, not the patch up the PPP were attempting. Number 7, the ad says that funding for Amerindian and hinterland development projects were blocked. Lies. The PPP were initiating projects which were seen by the opposition as more akin to bribes than actual development. What they were planning were handouts rather than developmental projects. There is no sustainability in that. Number 8, the ad says that funding for the miners, interior roads and airships was blocked. Lies. The PPP don't care about miners. Too many letters from miners are appearing in the newspapers telling us that foreign companies are getting better deals than them. The trafficking in persons going on in the interior is frightening. The sale of our young women into forced prostitution, the murders, the destruction of the Amerindian lands. PPP's policing and treatment of minors is a failure. The ad says that disturbances at Linden in July 2012 led to the deaths of 3 persons. Lies. The opposition did not give the order to fire live rounds on those poor people. The PPP did. Then, the ad says that disturbances in Agricola in October 2012 resulted in the police being attacked and many Guyanese beaten and robbed. More lies. The opposition denies that they were involved in any way and blamed the words which Dr. Luncheon spoke as being the cause of inciting the violence.